The following segments are a presentation of Smacking Off the podcast.
以下片段是 Smacking Off 播客的演示。
And now, Smacking Off the podcast.
Welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm Shannon Madden. I'm trying to find my little headphone jack. I was actually going to do this from the computer, proper, because we're doing a live broadcast. I forgot we're doing these live now. I think that was my idea. Thanks, Shannon.
It might have been.
It probably was. I pushed it, I know. So, but I'm on my phone. I'm on my cellular device. I think we'll be okay. I didn't anger Windstream, so I should be able to be heard.
I did not hear an echo. None.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, we'll see what happens, and if it starts echoing, then we'll blame it on Windstream.
All right, so, Bob, where are you at tonight?
I'm at home.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great, man.
Are you smoking a turkey yet?
We're not smoking one, but we're in preparations right now of making a bunch of them.
I got
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm smoking a big joint.
Yeah, I knew that. That was pretty much what I don't think anybody here was even going to begin to imagine you doing this podcast without a joint in your hand.
Bob?
I need to smoke a bowl too. Yeah, you're right. We need to get on this grind. Doug, do you have any pot there? You need to smoke some pot with us.
No, but I was just going to say that Bob, he's the Bob Marley of the Honky Nation.
He does have curly hair.
Yes. Right. So we'll do that. I like that.
Yeah, he's a curly-headed white dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I always wish I had curly hair. I have horrible white people hair. I
got curly hair.
Your hair is curly. Yeah.
Around my dick.
No, when you used to have long hair, you had hair. Remember when Carl on Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Remember when he got the wig, the clowning?
Yeah.
and the hair was really long and black and curly. Your hair was kind of like that when I first met you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we've got Gary Oak and Landon Beamon going up against each other tonight, I believe, and Justin Pike is MIA.
How's that going to work?
We don't know. It's going to work like it's going to work. I mean, those guys are arch enemies.
Yeah, but what that's what I'm saying is, we got one is a just hardcore Alabama fan, and the other is a hardcore Oregon fan, and
and they're both vying for a spot in the CFP. So this is interesting.
Man, this is about Bo Nix, isn't it?
It might be.
This is going to be a conversation largely centered around Bo Nix, and I'm here for it because Bo Nix is he can suck my fuzzy.
And the loser could win the live championship.
He's the Joe Burrow of the North.
Yeah.
This is rivalry week. I'm trying to figure out what games do we got this week.
Well, there was that one we talked about with our buddy Kenny.
Yes.
But I think because we devoted damn near a whole segment to maybe we need to talk about these other trash rivalry games that are pale in comparison to what we deal with here in the South. Roll Tide.
Bob, what's going on?
The Egg Bowl is a much different game this year. I don't know. Does anybody really honestly expect that Mississippi State is going to sneak up and win this game?
No.
Particularly with now, I don't know. There's some really high profile jobs coming up. But does anybody see Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss anytime soon?
Nah.
I don't know. He's done enough at Ole Miss to get another job. There's something about Lane that's not getting him a lot of calls.
Well, it's Lane. Come on, man. Lane's he likes to get on the what is it now? X. He likes to get on the X and make some very controversial X's sometimes. I'm here for the guy. I absolutely love him. I think for 2023, he is the face of the future of college football coaches. I'm sorry, like it or not. Lincoln Riley needs to get a little bit more active on Twitter. Maybe that would kind of boost his stock a little bit.
So
Because it's very funny that I would mention Lincoln Riley because Lincoln Riley's having a little trouble out at USC this year, and a year that he was kind of supposed to do a little bit more than he's doing. I still think it's early. I mean, what is this Riley's second year there?
Yeah, but it's kind of early. It's kind of early to be sinking, is it not?
I mean, is it? But is this too early to really call that sinking? I hate to be a USC apologist here, but I do like Lincoln Riley. I spoke very highly of him when he got this hire, and said at the time, which I still will stand by, that at the time he was a top 5 coach in college football.
Does it look any different than Clay Helton up to now?
No. Yeah. I mean, it looks almost identical. USC, and we've spoken about this on this program. I always like to use this example. Bobby Bowden. Bobby Bowden at FSU. And I know FSU, when Bobby Bowden took that program over, and USC are light years apart as far as tradition goes. I get that. But, hell, even Auburn's taught us this. Sometimes you just got to wait some shit out. Sometimes you just got to see your decision through. Texas A&M.
Yep.
I mean, and Texas A&M looks slightly better at the moment too, which is so weird to not see Bobby Petrino have slid over into that interim head coach seat just yet. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they want. I don't know if they wanted to go that route because
there's baggage.
He's got a pass. So
he's got a pass, and go ahead.
My question, before I forget, because Kentucky is very forgettable right now, Bob.
Yeah.
Do you have any hope that Kentucky's going to upset Louisville tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that they should beat them. I mean, I know that a lot of people are, believe it or not, are calling for Stoops to be gone, saying that he's in the ceiling and they'll never do no better, and they're paying him too much money. So I think they gotta beat Louisville. Though I don't believe they're going to fire Stoops, but it could start a.
I wouldn't necessarily say fire Stoops because Stoops has also showed up on some short lists for some of these head coaching vacancies that have popped up.
Yeah, well,
that maybe he can't do any better at Kentucky with what he's got at Kentucky, but maybe he can do better elsewhere. Don't know.
He might could. I'm not really.
He's a good coach. Trust me. If somehow mysteriously winds up losing the Kentucky job, he won't be unemployed for long.
No, he'd do well. But there's some people calling for it. I think it's premature. But there's been some expectations in the last couple of years, and it seems like they hit a wall after the midway point of the season, and that they've hit their ceiling. But I don't know. I'd love to. Louisville, I mean, I think there's enough hatred there where Kentucky can beat them. I don't think they're that great. They've won a lot of close games against some good teams, Louisville, but I still believe Kentucky can beat them. And
that game is held where this year?
I think it's at Louisville, unfortunately.
But I still, I mean, I'm sure Kentucky fans are going to travel very, very well for that short drive across the state.
The 67 miles won't kill them.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing.
That's not. But it's a big stadium, Papa John's Stadium. I don't know if they even call it that anymore.
Papa John's, didn't he get canceled or something?
Yeah, he got canceled.
Yeah, we all gonna get canceled at some point in time, I guess.
Yeah, so they can have a.
I can't wait for us to get canceled. I know it's gonna happen. It's probably gonna be about something I said about Tommy Tuberville's wife. Thanks, Gabe.
Well, that's.
I was just repeating something I heard, but it sounded pretty fucking funny when I heard it. So, I mean, it may not be true, but it's still not going to prevent me from repeating it. What was said, because it was pretty fucking hilarious.
Hell yeah!
But enough about Auburn, because I promised myself I wasn't going to go off into that on this particular episode, because we've spoken so much about that already. With our good friend Kenny the other day.
There's plenty to say about him, though, Doug and Shane.
There is, but I really don't think that as far as the Alabama Auburn game, I think we pretty much covered what's going to happen in that game, and
You
it
don't
will
like
not
the idea.
be me sucking Kenny's dick.
So you don't like the idea of being baptized by Hugh Freeze?
Um, you're really
Every time
pushing
you
me on this.
every time you mention this, Bob, I'm thinking of Oh Brother We're Out There, the
Oh, I
baptism
know.
scene.
So yeah.
Oh Lord, let's go down to the river and pray. Yeah, that's a good scene.
It
Hell
is.
yeah.
I went down. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, look, because I'm not really that hyped up on cough medicine like I was the other night. Whatever I've had has finally subsided, but I've had to take some pretty high strength antibiotics to get here.
Hell yeah.
I almost died. I almost died on the last episode, and I don't think
Really?
y'all would have saved me. Probably.
Well,
You never
I'm glad
know,
you
right?
made it.
I mean, I felt like I was going to die, and I had the strep throat.
Hmm.
I haven't had strep throat since I was 18.
Thank you so much, Shelby. My granddaughter bought me a cookie. She just made peanut butter cookies, my favorite.
Ooh, out the oven?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the way to go right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, there it is.
Mm.
Mm.
That hits the spot right there.
Yeah, it's still soft.
So we've also got Michigan and Ohio State this week. Any thoughts?
Who cares
on that?
about that? Who really cares about that game?
I think Ohio State wins.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, and of course, that's what I really love about. The only thing that I love about this game is that it's going to solve some issues there at the top of the heap, and that's the greatest thing about rivalry week. Auburn, I'm not looking at you, of course. So yeah, I don't know. Again, this game before the sign stealing scandal, this game to me was a bigger deal. And I'm not saying because they don't have the signs anymore that now Ohio State has a better chance, but I don't know if you've watched Michigan's production since the sign stealing scandal. There has definitely been a drop off.
Yep, and they
defensively they're still hanging in there. They still have probably one of the best defenses in the country, but offensive production is down.
They haven't played a team the caliber of Ohio State. I guess Penn State was the closest. But Penn State, we know what Penn State does in big games. So
yeah, Penn State is what like the they're going to be a 4 or 5 loss team this year.
You got to say though, against Penn State, they didn't run the football past the midway point of the second quarter. They literally physically imposed their will on Penn State. From then on, they ran 66 straight times and dominated Penn State physically.
Yeah, so I mean, look, and Michigan has played dominant football all year long. So I'm expecting both teams to bring a great game. I'd like to see Ohio State win this one. My heart kind of tells me, like it or not, that Michigan's probably going to at least eke this one out, if not just win it outright in a convincing fashion. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Maybe this is Ohio State's year once and for all. Because the whole sign stealing scandal has really tainted my personal view of Michigan, which wasn't that great to begin with. Come on, guys.
And then we got Gary Oak coming on here, and he'll want to talk about Oregon and Oregon State, which I think Oregon State's going to be Oregon.
The only thing I really care about in this contest is making sure that Bo Nix keeps those child support payments going. You got to take care of that baby.
I'm not very excited about Gary Oak right now because he's in group. He's in the chat, and he has not acknowledged anything. And he knows he's supposed to come on. So, and Landon wanted to hold off till 8:15, so we'll see if he pops in.
Yeah, Landon's coming on. If Landon says he's coming on, Landon's coming on. Landon will at least give us some kind of signal that said he knows. But Gary Oak,
Gary Oak has been on the podcast once or twice, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, the old guy, kind of an older guy.
No, I think he's.
No, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool. We had a guy come on one time that was really odd. Remember that shit?
Yeah,
he was an old guy.
I think it was Jerry. That was Jerry Lane.
It might have been. It wasn't a great acting job, but there was something funny about it.
We'll have to go back and replay the tape on that.
The intrigue.
I don't know. I don't know if it was that intriguing.
Uh,
I really miss my audience. I really need to be plugged into my computer, but I can't find my little thing, and it's really pissing me off.
So, what was the most intriguing segment we ever had? I mean, everybody's going to say JPC and Paul Garner, but Mac Brooks and Joe Do was fucking fire.
That was a pretty good one. One of my favorites personally will always be the very one and only time that we got Tim Bailey and Dr. Lou together, and Tim Bailey kind of chewed on Dr. Lou's ass.
Man, that was pretty good.
He did. He kind of fucked him up.
Also, Shannon Russell and Teddy Shicklesworth was a really good segment.
That was a good one, yeah.
And then we had one where somebody vomited on air.
Amy Welch, yeah.
Yes.
Damn it.
R.I.P. and her flat titties.
And her titties.
Yeah, her flat titties. She was flat chested. She's flat chested like a boy almost.
My titties aren't good enough for you.
All right, so I'm going to go.
To be fair, I'll suck some flat titties.
Oh yeah, it's magic. It's pure magic.
My first wife had flat titties. Yeah.
Hey, I hope you don't end up having to suck Kenneth's flat titties.
I'm not sucking his one-eyed titties. No, not doing it.
All right, so I'm going to run the live championship, and when we come back, maybe Landon will be here, and if not, then we'll still be here. God damn it, right?
Hugh Freeze these nuts.
Talked about winning championships. They're a champion. They've won the biggest championship, and that's a championship of life.
The Life Championship Top 10 is a smacking of the podcast presentation. Welcome back to another installment of the Life Championship Top 10. Please stand by as we tell you our voter ballots for this week.
Number 10, the UNC Tar Heels. Number 9, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Number 8, the Utah Utes. Number 7, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
What's a Ute?
Number 6, the Texas A&M Aggies. Number 5, the LSU Tigers. Number 4, the Oklahoma Sooners. Number 3, the Clemson Tigers. Number 2, the USC Trojans. And the number 1 team for this week, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Here is our Life 10 voters for 2023. Alex Bryan, Kyle Golick, Clemson Dane, Dr. Balls, Jerry Looney, Jamie Gibson, and Sean Devine. Take a moment to appreciate the unwavering effort they give to bring you the most prestigious top 10 list in college football.
Oh, hi, I'm Clemson Dane, and this is Smacking Off, the podcast.
It's like cocaine or something. I don't know. These motherfuckers just talk about college sports, specifically college football, and man, let me tell you, it's a hoot.
How many losses does Tennessee have now?
They have enough to make number 1 on our life championship, and that's beautiful to me. That warms my heart.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh
yeah, I hear you.
What's going on, Landon? Where's Gary is not responding.
Oh, I mean, what a bitch, you know. I mean, here I am. I show up. You know, he's talking all that shit about Alabama, about his fucking Ducks. And here we are. I'm here. I'm ready.
Did you ask Landon? Did you ask him about whether Bo Nix was keeping those child support payments up? That's really all I care about.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, I would love to know that too. I mean, if he's gonna, you know, if Oregon's supposedly going to make the playoffs, you know, they're going to get some money for that. And I think that, I mean, me personally, I think Bo Nix should have to give his child some fucking money. You know,
and at least
deadbeat dad.
and at least get a pair of those Oregon Nikes and sign them for him. I mean, that's the least he could do because his baby mama could get at least like $500-$600 for those on eBay.
Yeah, hey, you would think, especially like tattoo it on his ass, put "Win the Day" like Oregon likes to do. Win the day. Yeah, win the day. Win a child. Bo Nix, win a child.
I bet he knows how to pull out now.
Shit. He needs to pull himself out of the fucking Heisman race.
Well, I mean, we'll see how that works out. He has the opportunity to do that this weekend.
Yeah, he ought to go ahead. He ought to go ahead and pull himself out because they're going to give it to Jaden Daniels.
You think so?
Jaden Daniels can take a hit.
Yeah, he can. He really can take a hit.
He's a full grown man that can take a hit. His head coach Brian Kelly can't, but whatever. He can't take a hit.
Fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And fuck Gary Oak, man. Here I am, ready, showed up. Here we are. Where's Gary Oak? Where is he?
Come out of your busy schedule, and the last thing he told me is he would be here.
Yeah, that's what he said. So he called me out, made a post about it, called me out in College Football Frenzy. Called me out.
Well,
said Oregon should be in the playoff over Alabama, even though that we have a better strength of schedule, we have a better strength of record. We both have one loss to top 10 team. I mean, I don't understand it.
This is not shared in Frenzy, but I will share this when I'm.
Yeah, you need to. You need to go ahead and share it and tag everybody. Let everybody know they need to come in here and witness that an actual true college football fan showed up to the podcast. Gary Oak calls me out, and he's nowhere to be found.
That's right.
So I got a question, guys. Have y'all? I mean, since the CFP has started, have you ever seen a fucking year like this with this many teams still with a chance to get
this far into the season? Yeah, I mean it's that, and that's what this is really setting the stage perfectly for an expanded playoff next year.
It really is. This is honestly the very first year I can remember where I can truly admit that 12 teams is needed. I really do believe it.
And those are 6 games I would definitely watch, no matter who those 12 teams are.
For sure. I mean, I would love to see a lot of these games. Whereas in the years past, I mean, like Alabama last year, we had a lot of Alabama fans like begging to be in the playoff and all that stuff. And do not misunderstand me. Do I think we would have gotten blown out 65-7 in the national championship? Fuck no. But in saying that, I mean, dude, we looked so bad last year. I wouldn't have even wanted to see us in a 12-team playoff. But this year, dude, a 12-team playoff would have been fun.
We're gonna have we'd have some fun in the postseason this year, and I sincerely hope that we still do.
I mean, we really would have. I mean, we've got
as good a chance as anybody. This is definitely going to be the toughest game. Not overlooking the Iron Bowl, even though come on, guys, we all know what's going to happen this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna beat that ass. We're gonna fuck a tree up again. That's right, you Auburn motherfuckers. We're going to fuck your trees up again. What are you going to do about it? You're not going to do a fucking thing.
Well, and look, next time one of the Alabama fan base, and this is me personally, I'm speaking to the Alabama fan base right now. If you want to go down there and fuck them trees up, don't let anybody know you did it. That's it. That's how you get away with it. Nobody has to know. You just go in there and do your business. Now, they got a lot of cameras there now, so you need to dress appropriately.
Yeah, don't call Feinbaum and talk about it.
Don't call us. We don't want to know. I don't want to know about it until the trees are dead. Long after they're dead, and then you can whisper something to me in the bathroom at Brian Denny or something like that. But just keep walking, man. Don't make eye contact with me.
Could you imagine that being your tradition? Like a lot of people have a tradition after a big win. They take their sweet ass and go fuck them in the bathroom or whatever. Like they have a good little time, a little celebration. Not Auburn. They're like, nah, let's go roll a fucking tree instead. Way more fun. Way more productive.
Hey,
way more.
Look, I'm going to preach this to the heavens still one more time. That Harvey Updike, inadvertently or advertently, however you want to look at it, he wound up saving the equivalent of like how many trees? Because they were there was a moratorium. You couldn't roll the trees down there for a while. So how many trees, toilet paper roll worth of trees did he save during that period. He actually was averting an environmental disaster that happens down there. The 6 or 7 times a year that Auburn wins. So, I mean, look, man, spare me the semantics. I still think that had Harvey Updike kept his fucking mouth shut, think of the hundreds and thousands of trees he would have saved from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hell,
I'm just saying.
It must so bad. Auburn's an agriculture school.
And they would have figured, and they would have realized they would have realized their folly in the middle of it. Because aren't they supposed to be about environmental and science and all that other horseshit down there? Come on, man. That showed me exactly who Auburn, not only just their fan base, but who they are as a whole entire institution on how they handled that situation. No,
imagine being an Auburn fan. Imagine literally caring so much about beating Alabama to the point you literally would just lose. Matter of fact, not just lose. You would get run off the field by a New Mexico State Lobo just so you could keep it competitive with Alabama. Imagine being that pathetic and sad.
So let me say this, and I don't know what everybody's opinion is on this. But I got a sneaky suspicion that Auburn's going to play the game of their fucking life.
Oh, they're going to have to. Hugh Freeze,
big if true. Big if true.
Hugh Freeze has to show the trustees that they aimed in the right direction when they hired him. And look, guys, everybody got receipts on my big mouth. I praised Auburn for this hire because I still think it was the very best that either Hugh Freeze and Auburn can do at the moment. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Think about where Hugh Freeze, how he left the SEC, blah blah blah. We went through all of that with Kenny the other night.
I think this game's going to be tight, and I think Bama wins 24-14.
I don't think it's going to be that tight. I think it'll be tight in the first half, and I think the second half Alabama's going to open it up like they have against every other inferior opponent, and Auburn is an inferior opponent this year. Hey, Hugh Freeze just got there. He's recruiting. He's going to do some things, this, that, and the other. We'll see what happens in a few years. But this year, no, man. I really think it's going to be 3 scores or more. I really do.
And Shannon, on paper, you're 100% right. I mean, Auburn doesn't have one fucking player on their entire team.
Their quarterback situation is abysmal, man. Come on.
It's awful. It's terrible. Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford couldn't start for a high school team. They fucking suck.
Yeah.
They're horrible. But here's my problem if I were an Auburn fan. And this would be my complaint to my entire fan base and athletic department. Why the fuck is it that the team that you support gives it their all against Alabama, but the other 11 games, you don't give it your all? You do not really – you give it 100% when you play Alabama, but you give it about 50 to 65 against everybody else. I would hate to know that that's my team. I would hate to know I would have to wait until the end of November to actually see my team walk out there and actually give a singular fuck about how they play the game of football. I would hate to know that.
How sad is that their whole entire existence, if they were able to beat Alabama in that year, that was a phenomenal year for them. And they will defend the fact that they lost 4 or 5 games.
Oh, dude,
they definitely shouldn't have lost,
If they beat us on Saturday, oh my God, they will be like, successful season. Man, what a great season we just had. 7-5 and beat Alabama.
We need to go ahead and extend his contract right now. Hugh Freeze is the greatest coach, the greatest thing ever. Blah, 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 motherfucker.
Shit, they did it to Gus Malzahn and then fired him.
And sure enough, they will give him a contract extension. Then he'll go off and do something stupid, and they'll wind up having to owe him, like Jimbo Fisher. Well, maybe not that much money, but
I went back for fun today, and I watched the 2019 Auburn-Alabama highlights when we had backup Mac Jones playing, and they beat us by 3. And I just watched all their touchdowns, and I watched all this shit that happened. And I'm just laughing because I'm watching all this wild shit happen. They had one guy do the most incredible toe tap, some white dude, for a touchdown who I think it was his only touchdown catch of the year. And it looked like prime Terrell Owens when he caught this ball from Bo Nix on our like best corner. I mean, it was the most beautiful looking catch you've ever seen. Sean Shiver's little midget ass knocked Xavier McKinney's helmet off. I mean, just insane shit that happened. And I'm sitting here, I'm laughing watching this because I'm like, y'all fired Gus Malzahn to hire Brian Harsin to then fire him to just turn around and hire Hugh Freeze. Like, why did you fire Gus Malzahn in the first place? I'm sitting here laughing, and I'm like, man, Gus Malzahn really did give Nick Saban headaches. And I'm like, y'all fired him. Y'all
Jones,
literally fired him.
Didn't Mac Jones score the winning touchdown for Auburn?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. We talked about on this podcast. I will never forget that. Unfortunately,
was that last pick six the one that he threw and it hit off our player's ass and then it went in the Auburn defender's hand only to be returned for 99 yards?
Yeah. So how many? He threw two pick sixes.
He threw more touchdowns to Auburn than he threw to Alabama. Unfortunately,
but he did
actually no. Actually, I think he had 4 touchdowns and 2 picks.
But they were both pick sixes, right?
Yes, they both were.
Okay, so basically, both of his scores were the winning touchdown for Auburn.
No. That was I'm sorry, I forgot my argument in that one too. My argument for that particular game was the fact that Mac Jones actually produced more for Auburn as far as the scoreboard went than their offense did.
And Bama still should have won the game.
Yeah.
Well, but if you actually go back and look in the Iron Bowl history, when we play at Jordan Hare, excuse me.
Yeah, you forgot that sound E.
Yeah, I did. Even in the Tommy Tuberville era, I mean, we played Auburn, but like I wouldn't sit here and say wild shit happened and we lost. I mean, like when we had Mike Shula and we played Tommy Tuberville in Jordan Hare, I mean, man, we just flat out got beat. I mean, they were just better than us. I mean, it wasn't like they literally just lined up, threw the ball to point A, and they went and scored, and we ended up losing by like 10 to 14 points, and that was it. Like it wasn't wasn't anything like mind-boggling or crazy or anything like that. But really, the crazy shit honestly started in the Gus Malzahn era. It really did, and they fired him.
Yep,
they got rid of him.
Let me ask this, Landon. Did you hear about Hugh Freeze and Bruce Pearl baptizing thousands on the campus of Auburn?
Oh, God. Was that not the most Dabo Swinney shit you've ever seen?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it's ironic, after everything that Hugh Freeze is associated with, that he's baptizing people and players.
Yeah, I mean, Dabo Swinney never, ever got caught up in the controversy that Hugh Freeze did.
No. That's one thing I will give Dabo for all the shit I
taking your guys down to church and having a conversation with them is one thing, but him standing there like the preacher and dunking the kids in the water, like he's the preacher man. He is the intercessor between the good Lord, the river, and these children. And he's there facilitating the whole process. That's some balls right there. That is the biggest fucking set of balls that I've ever seen. You ever seen his wife? His wife is church hot.
Damn it, Jill.
I don't doubt that.
Jill's a very, very good looking woman for her age.
Leaving?
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, but no, I mean, if Hugh Freeze and Bruce Pearl do, I mean, you know what they say, if you gotta show it off in public, it's because you ain't doing it enough in private.
Well, Bruce Pearl was in the middle of this, and somebody pointed out the fact that Bruce Pearl is Jewish, is he not?
Yes.
Yes, he
amazing.
is.
Yiddish.
He's baptizing players that he's Jewish.
hey, but Jesus was a Jew as well, so.
I will say this. I actually like.
They don't make Jews like Jesus anymore.
They really don't.
I mean, I really do. I actually like Bruce Pearl. Hell, I actually like Gus Malzahn. I really did like Gus Malzahn. I hated when we played him, but as a person and everything like that, I actually like Gus Malzahn.
He was kind of jittery, but I guess working for the Auburn trustees would make you jittery, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
he was nervous. He was a real nervous guy all the time.
And to be honest with you, I don't mind Hugh Freeze. I really don't. It's not like it's not even the coaches that I hate at Auburn. I mean, I didn't really hate Tommy Tuberville. I really did.
No, sir. I do not
really
like Tommy Tuberville. No, I'm not a Tommy Tuberville fan at motherfucking all. Fear the thumb my ass. He took advantage. What he did as head coach of Auburn, as far as the rivalry goes between Alabama and Auburn, is he took advantage of poor, drunk, at this point, really, really incapacitated from heavy drug use and a lot of partying, a drunk Alabama out in the middle of the alley and took advantage of this poor, disadvantaged thing.
Yeah.
Year in and year out, and got to brag about it and got to use that and rode that shit to the fucking U.S. Senate. Can you fucking believe that?
And then got his ass out of town as soon as Alabama got their shit together.
Yeah. Well, no,
he pretty much saw the writing on the wall. He knew that shit was over. And
Gabe Griffin has a funny story about that. I'm just throwing that out there.
And then pretty much Auburn went and hired Gene Chiswick.
Who?
Chiswick. God. They hired Gene Chiswick. He won a national title. I don't care about Cam Newton or not. He still was the coach, and he was then all of a sudden the next year, I think he went like 3-9, and they fired him.
No. You say you're actually going to give Gene Chiswick credit for that national title? Are you serious?
No, that's the point. That's the point I'm making. He even won a national title, and when they realized that, oh shit, this guy can't beat Alabama without Cam Newton, they're like, we're out, done.
Yeah.
They went ahead and just pulled the plug immediately. Then Gus Malzahn, as soon as he got run off the field in 2020 by Alabama, when we played him in Tuscaloosa, they're like, all right, Don, we can't have it. Then Brian Harsin, he loses a 4-game overtime. And then hell, middle of the year in 2022, they're like, oh damn, we actually got to play Alabama in Tuscaloosa with Brian Harsin. Yeah, we need to go ahead and get rid of this guy in the middle of the season. Got to get Coach Whack out there.
Let's not forget that it was Steve Sarkisian that ran him off the field in 2020.
Yeah, it was Steve Yeah, they say so. Damn, Nick Saban ain't even here, and Gus can't even beat Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa. We got to get him out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what's funny about the Iron Bowl, though. Could y'all imagine? And I know back in the day it used to be at Legion Field, but Auburn cried, and they were like, "No, we don't need it at Legion Field. It's too short of a drive for Alabama fans." So they freaked out, and we went to home and home. But could y'all imagine if we actually played the Iron Bowl at a neutral site, and you never got to play it at Jordan Hare? What that series record would be?
I mean, I remember it.
The Iron Bowl record when it was neutral here at Legion Field was pretty one-sided. Yeah,
that was the thing for a lot of years.
Yeah, and they cried about it, and then they got it moved, and so it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. And Auburn fans know this: when they have to go to Tuscaloosa, they're not winning. Their only hope is their own field.
Except in 1999, of course.
Well, I say that, excuse me, unless you're a New Mexico State Lobo, then it doesn't matter where you play. You can play on fucking Mars and you're going to get run off the field.
Let's run down some of these big games this week.
Let's do it.
So Gary Oak could be here to talk about this, but but
he's a fucking pussy. Thanks, Gary. Really appreciate you showing up, motherfucker. Hey, Doug, can you clip that?
I will.
Thank you.
Oregon State at Oregon.
Oregon's got to lose because Gary Oak didn't show up.
Yeah, let's go Beavers. Let's go. Yeah. The ukulele. The ukulele gets it done.
That's right.
He gets it done.
Beavers.
Is he at Oregon State?
Yes, he is. The ukulele is at Oregon State, and he actually got better once he left Dabo. Isn't that ironic? Damn, I can't imagine why. Such a mystery.
Kind of the same as Bo Nix getting better as soon as he left Auburn.
Yeah. Very true. Very true indeed. Can't imagine how that was.
Now here's one: Ohio State at Michigan, and I'm gonna have to I got to say this, and then y'all talk about it. Ohio State is winning this fucking game.
I
agree.
I really do because again, I mentioned it a minute ago. What?
No, you don't. You don't agree. You're picking Michigan.
No, I'm not.
You changed your mind?
I don't want to pick Michigan.
Michigan cheated.
Yeah, but you think Michigan's going to win?
I don't know, man. This one's going to be tight. I can't pick Michigan. I just can't do it.
There you go.
Michigan cheated.
You You said earlier you had a hunch that Michigan was going to pull this up.
I do. Just because they cheat. I mean, look, dude. Just because they're not stealing signs doesn't mean that there's not some other shit that they're going to do. Don't think that they haven't went back to the drawing board immediately. Oh shit, man, that didn't work out. What can we do next? What's Plan B? Which they may already have Plan B, and it may have already not been discovered, and they just quietly kind of put it off to the side, even knowing full well that there's some other edge that they've been able to get to the back door. Don't think that that sign stealing thing was the only thing they had going on. Come on, man.
The only thing they need is the championship of life.
Harbaugh's a piece of shit. He is a slimy piece of shit, and he's always going to look for an angle. Man, take his ass back to the NFL. Maybe they need more of that there because they script their shit anyways.
Well, Robert, if Michigan don't make the playoffs, they're definitely going to win it.
That's right.
There's no way around it. Robert, how many losses does Kentucky have?
Was it 5?
5? Okay. Let's talk about the biggest game of the week, and that's Saturday. Kentucky goes to number 10 Louisville.
Number 10 Louisville. Wow, that sounds so weird to me.
It does, don't it?
Man, 2023 is such a fucked up year in college football.
Well, the ACC is a good conference for you to benefit from. If you have a decent year in the ACC, you might get ranked in the top 10. But
where's Clemson at? Clemson's usually there. Clemson's what, like 5 or 6 this year, right?
Yeah, what if Clemson wins the ACC?
Buy your stock, Shannon. Buy your stock.
No, sell.
Buy your stock in Dabo, apparently.
Where's Dabo going to go after Clemson?
Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to come in the back door and offer him stupid money, and we're going to see how loyal Mr. Dabo is, Mr. Good Christian man. We're going to see how loyal that is.
You really think he turncoat like that?
If he turned down Texas A&M money and they truly offered him the job and he turned it down, he's a damn fool.
That is stupid money too, because you know they're going to. If they actually go ahead, Dave.
He's a great fit there, is he not?
Probably is, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It depends on if Texas A&M likes to listen to every time they lose a game. They like to listen to Dabo get up there and give a eulogy. It just depends. That's what you got to be. If you're into that shit, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I tell this to Dane all the time because I think he would lick Dabo's taint from the inside out if he even went 0-12 next year.
Is anybody going to go ahead and say the quiet part out loud and the fact that there has been, like it or not, some major drop off since Venables has left?
It's Venables and dude, when he had Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, Clemson's record was 67-5.
Mm-hmm.
With those two quarters, 67-5.
That's ridiculous.
With those two guys, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because breaking news, they're generational talents. And they were fucking good as shit.
Mm-hmm.
They were good as hell. I mean, we all could have coached them in this podcast and won 8 games.
Old booty hole.
I mean, especially in the ACC. So it's not like he did something that was just crazy here, okay? I mean, the ACC is also, during those times, was so trash. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the ACC was so bad.
It was Clemson. It really was Clemson and everybody else.
Oh, it was horrible because Jimbo Fisher was tanking Florida State. They were going down in the dumps. So basically from 2015 through 2020, the ACC was absolutely abysmal. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Miami now, I think what are they going 8-4, I guess. Hell, I only think Miami was winning 4 games.
Yeah.
Except the year I think they had Brad Kaya with Mark Richt.
Wow.
But
Mark Richt, wonder what he's doing now.
Oh God, I think the Georgia fans are still licking his asshole because he was a good Christian man too.
He's all right. I liked Mark Richt. I really did. Come on.
I like Mark Richt.
He was a good fit for Georgia at that time, and he actually kept Georgia. Georgia ran a good, clean program then.
Yeah, he was a good fit at that time.
He didn't go quite as thick with it as Dabo does, though.
No, Mark Richt was never like Dabo. No. Mark Richt was very genuine, and Mark Richt genuinely is a good person. I've never disputed that about Mark Richt. The problem, though, that I had with the Mark Richt era with Georgia fans was that Alabama and LSU and all that stuff were like winning games. When this was when LSU, had Les Miles, Nick Saban had just got to Alabama. And their cop out for watching them win and watching them get their ass kicked by each of them was, yeah, we may have lost, but at least Mark Richt's a good Christian man, and they had Nick Saban painted as the devil. Well, after that got old, they finally realized that, hey, we might want to win some football games. So then they hire Kirby Smart, and now you don't hear anything about religion or anything like that because they're winning national titles. Therefore, it doesn't matter. No one cares. No one gives a shit if you're an atheist. If you're winning national titles, they will shut the fuck up gladly, and they do not give a damn.
Yeah, Kirby could pretty much walk down the. To use the famous Trump quote, he could walk in broad daylight down downtown Athens there and shoot somebody in broad daylight, and they would still,
Oh, they'd be like, "No, he didn't do it."
Or that no, there had to have been a reason. That 18-year-old co-ed girl must have been. I think she had a bottle in her hand. She had a bottle in her hand, so she was probably going to cut him with the bottle. I mean, thank God Nick's or Kirby's okay.
But no, Clemson has absolutely had a drop off, 100%. I mean, going back to that, I mean,
since Venables has left, yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, and they preach like, oh man, our defense is still good. No, it's not. Brent Venables was not giving up 200 plus yards rushing to teams like Miami and things like that. He wasn't doing that.
But at the same time, though, that right there is the separation between a team like, well, let's say Alabama and Georgia right now that's had, a little bit of personnel shakeup here and there throughout their program's existence under those head coaches. And there's, maybe been a little drop off 1 year, or maybe a slight drop off in this area, or something that needed to be tweaked here, or Pete Golding here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, they're still, those caliber of teams still remain in the conversation, whereas Clemson has completely dropped out. And anytime they do enter the conversation, preseason usually, no, man, there's just nothing there anymore. It's so sad.
They're on the verge of going 7-5 in the ACC. I mean,
That's
South Carolina could beat them this weekend. They really could.
This is a year that a lot of people, legitimate sports writers at the beginning of the year, said this is going to be one of those years that Clemson shows back up in the playoffs, or is at least in the conversation a good portion of the season.
Yeah, I mean, and Clemson fans are like, oh, no big deal, man. It's just okay. It's not a big deal. 7-5, no big deal. I'm like, no, the fuck it is a big deal. You do not go 7-5 in the ACC with the talent Clemson recruits at. They're in the top 8 in recruiting just about every fucking year. And you play ACC teams who don't even sniff the top 20, and you have 5 losses. That's not good. Nothing about that screams, hell yeah, can't wait for more of that shit. None.
Jane and I believe that Clemson and Kentucky are going to meet in the Music City Bowl, which is ironic because that was what happened at the start of the Dabo era,
Oh, Lord, wouldn't that be a battle? Oh, my God.
So let's jump ahead a little bit, and I think this is probably the most interesting thing we got to talk about, considering we've already covered all the really big rivalry games. Is there any way Alabama beats Georgia? Sorry. Let's go ahead. Let's not jump completely ahead. Let's say Alabama beats Auburn and Georgia and does not.
Well, Alabama mathematically is going to the SEC championship. We know that. That's already been established. So whether Auburn sneaks one past us or not, I really don't think it'll happen because I'm not sucking Kenny's dick.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant to what I'm saying. Alabama's got to beat Auburn for what I'm talking about. Is there any way Alabama beats Auburn and then beats Georgia and don't make the college football playoffs? Because there's fuckers out there who don't believe that they think that Alabama can beat Georgia and still miss the playoffs.
I mean, the only way that I see that scenario happening is that Texas, being Alabama's only loss, is going to have a complete meltdown right now. From here on out for the remainder of the season, and I just don't see that. That also includes the ACC championship.
I really don't think that will matter. I think
the Big Ten championship.
Well, I want to say something because I think a lot of Alabama fans get caught up in this, and I'm not one of those people. Look, if we win out, even if we beat Georgia, I don't give a shit.
I just said 2 wrong conferences. The Big 12 championship. I'm sorry. It's been a long week.
No, you're good. But I'm saying when we play Georgia, we beat Auburn, which I think we're going to beat Auburn. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. But anyway, We play Georgia and we beat Georgia. I don't give a shit if we beat them by 100 fucking points. I really do. I don't care if they're all crying on the field at midfield and shit and having explosive diarrhea. I don't
That'd be
care.
nice.
If Texas wins out, and I don't give a shit if they win by 1 fucking point against Texas Tech this weekend. I don't care if they win by 1 against Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title. If that's who they play, I think that's who they're going to play. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong though. I don't care if we both finish with 1 loss and we're conference champions, and it comes down to either of us, and it's a decision between both of us of who goes to the playoff. Texas is going to go out over Alabama, and they absolutely should. They beat us, and it is what it is. I hate it. It sucks.
Let me go in.
I get it.
Let me go ahead and say this. And no matter, it don't really matter what you just said. I kind of agree with that. But there is no way that Alabama wins out and don't make the playoffs. I guarantee it.
Yeah, but because again, Georgia has played so dominantly, and now that we've gotten Texas out of the way, let's talk about where Georgia's at for the moment. Because even with their soft strength of schedule, Georgia has played completely dominantly against every opponent up to this point, and for Alabama to get one over on them in Atlanta. That's style points that you just. I'm sorry, there's nothing that's going to trump that.
No, but
there's nothing that's going to trump that.
I mean, look, if it were me, I would put both Texas and Alabama in the playoff. I think both Texas and Alabama are better football teams than either Washington or Oregon.
And the possibility that Texas and Alabama would end their seasons where their season began in a rematch is, man, that's sexy TV right there. And the playoff committee looks for matchups.
But the problem is they're not going to, if Washington wins out and they beat Oregon again, which I actually don't see that happening. I think Oregon is going to beat Washington. But either way, let's just say that Washington wins out and they beat Oregon again. I mean, they're not going to leave out an undefeated Pac-12 champion. They're just not. I mean, I'm fully know that and I understand that.
Especially the Pac-12's the Pac-12's last year in existence too. I mean, you're as far as
they're just not
it. Yeah, I mean, that's sexy TV as well. That's a Cinderella story.
And I'm not saying they should. I get it.
FSU could definitely get left out.
They could.
Yeah, 100%. Because look, Florida State, other than the LSU game week 1, Florida State has not looked like a playoff team in any of the 11 other games they have played. And then they just lost Jordan Travis. And they've also played a shit schedule with shit competition.
Bama may not be able to beat Georgia, but if they win out, there's no way Bama don't make it. And I don't give a shit what Texas does. If it comes down, and I agree with what you're saying, Landon, but if it comes down to Texas and Alabama beats Auburn and Georgia back-to-back, Bama's getting in over Texas, and people are going to be mad.
I agree that if Alabama and Texas played tomorrow, Alabama will be favored. I would pick Alabama to beat Texas based off how we look now versus how Texas looks. I agree with every single point someone would make about it. I 100% agree. But the problem is if it came down to Alabama and Texas, which I still think Alabama fans are picking the wrong team here. You need to be picking a battle with Oregon, and why Oregon has 1 loss just like Alabama. They have 1 loss. Okay? They would win their conference just like Alabama would win their conference. But
I don't think Texas has enough big wins to edge out Alabama if Alabama beats Georgia. I swear to God.
But Texas still has bigger wins than Oregon. They have bigger wins. They have a better strength of schedule than Oregon. Alabama has bigger wins. They have better strength of schedule than Oregon. They have a better strength of record. Everything. They have that all over Oregon.
The only team that's got a better situation than Alabama, well, there's 2 teams that's got a better situation than Alabama, and that's Ohio State and Michigan. Either one of those teams went, and then Washington, arguably. Yeah. But there's no way Bama wins the next 2 games and don't get in. There's no fucking way. I will guarantee you.
No, I think if Alabama does beat Georgia, I do believe that what will happen, the debate will come down between Alabama and Oregon. I don't think the debate is between Alabama and Texas. I just don't. I think it's between Alabama and Oregon, assuming Oregon wins the Pac-12, because you're going to be looking at a resume. So you got eye test, you got you got your resume of strength of schedule and strength of record. And when you stack all those things up, Alabama is going to win that. They are.
Yeah, I mean, and Texas lost aside because again, the Alabama losing to Texas in the very first game of the season was the absolute perfect scenario for where Alabama's at now to have lost. That was the perfect time and the perfect game to lose at that time, because now the committee also has, and I know it sounds weird, but they will have a trajectory of where Alabama was at versus where they are now. They can compare Alabama against Alabama.
Sure.
As weird as that sounds.
I mean,
there's nobody in the country that can't see that Alabama now is definitely not the team that Alabama was against Texas at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we all
Alabama
agree
has found their identity on both sides of the ball, and it looks pretty good.
I think you can watch this committee, and every year, really, it's the same thing, and they start laying groundwork, and I'm seeing two things that are sticking out to me. They've already laid the groundwork to leave out an undefeated FSU team.
Yeah.
They've already laid that out. There's no, like I said, Alabama. They're not jumping Alabama over Texas because it wouldn't look good. But if they beat Georgia, there's your problem right there. Is Bama jumps Texas?
Yeah.
And Texas people are going to be happy, and I agree with them. I agree with Landon.
Very well could. I don't personally agree with it because I think the problem is if us and Texas both went out, and like I said, I don't care about the point margin or anything. If we beat Georgia versus Texas barely beating Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title, my problem is if we say Alabama is going to be ranked ahead of Texas and we're going to put Alabama over Texas in the playoff, then we've basically done a disservice to the college football world by saying, hey, the regular season doesn't matter, guys. I mean, but then in the same respect, I think it's also bullshit, though, how we say, oh, all you need to do is just win your games. It's easy to say, well, Landon, just win your games. Alabama should just beat Texas. You're right, we should have. But in the same respect, what if we just didn't schedule Texas and we scheduled Ball State and we won? Guess what?
But you know what? Look. Before we go any further in this conversation, all this does is reinforce the notion that we do need an expanded playoff. That's all this does. This just puts a slap. It just puts a massive exclamation point on it, particularly this year, particularly with this conversation that we're having, because we still have a few games to play, and we're still at this crossroads of indecision as far as which teams are going to go in. But luckily, the schedule is going to suss that out.
Yeah, I mean, and I was explaining this to Timothy Bailey, and I will 100% stand on this. College football is not about Alabama versus Chattanooga or Georgia versus UT Martin or versus Ball State or Alabama versus South Florida. That is not what college football is about. College football is about the Alabama-Texas. That's what people turn on the TV to watch. They want to see Alabama-Texas. That is what you wanted to see. And we played the game. We lost. No shit. We lost by 10 points. We had a 16-13 lead in the fourth, and we lost. And we lost the game, and it happened. But in Texas, the rankings right now should be Texas, Alabama, and then Oregon. That's my personal opinion. That's how they should be. But
but what y'all seen so far this season from both teams, so Alabama and Texas plays this game now, what happens?
I would say Alabama would win. But hell, I thought Alabama would win in week 2 the way we looked in week 1, and I was wrong.
But you do realize these are two different conversations. So one of them is what should happen, and one of them is what's going to happen. And
100%, yes.
And so Texas don't have the advantage of playing Georgia in the last game before.
No, they don't. And
the
committee is a little bit about what have you done for me. What have you done for me lately? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this may all be moot. Alabama may not be able to overcome Georgia. And
we may lose to Georgia, and it is what it is. It's all
Alabama may lose to Auburn, and I may have to suck Kenny's dick.
Good.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did that. Y'all should have stopped me.
Oh God.
Well, you were all tanked out on cough syrup that night.
Yeah, I was. I should have took some tonight just to get the buzz going.
Hey, you know what though? If Alabama don't get in the playoff, even if we beat Georgia and they leave us out and we don't get in, then you know what? Everybody can enjoy the show of watching Florida State and Washington get absolutely run the fuck off the field, and we can all sit back and laugh, and we can all just say, because the SEC will be out of the playoffs entirely, and then people can wonder why that they're watching a complete 4-team playoff of nothing but jokes and watching TCU 2.0 just get absolutely humiliated. And when they complain and they're like, well, that wasn't a good game, then you can look back and say, well, no shit, you didn't put the right teams in because all you had an inconsistent agenda, which is the problem with the committee. They're so inconsistent. They'll use resume for one ranking, but then they turn around and use eye test for another. And it's like nothing's consistent.
No, hold on, Landon. It's very consistent, but there's one stat they're not telling you about, and that's cash and money.
Cash is the cream. It's the money, dollar bill, y'all. Doug, if I have to suck Kenny's dick, I'm going to start drinking again.
If they want cash and money, then they would gladly put Alabama in the playoff, because I promise you Alabama will bring a hell of a lot more revenue than some fucking West Coast, Washington or Oregon. I promise you on my life they would bring a hell of a lot more money than either of those two, because no one in the state of California, Oregon, Washington, anywhere out there gives a singular fuck about college football. Not a singular fuck.
Yeah, you're right.
So let's talk about this. Let's go over the teams that's got a shot at this point, and let's talk about what each of them have to do and what's got to happen for them to get in. Anybody got any ideas on this?
Well, no, we've already discussed Alabama, so we can kind of move that to the side for the moment. And I think we've discussed Texas at great length, so we can slide Texas over for a moment. Oregon's got to win out, obviously.
Yeah, but they need other shit to happen, probably.
Yeah, Florida State has to win out. They have to, and I would also argue when they play Florida this week, they need to go in there with the backup quarterback. And they need to beat the brakes off of Florida. Florida's 5-6. Okay, if Florida State is a playoff team, like everybody tells me, Florida State should walk into the swamp in Gainesville against a 5-6 Florida and absolutely name their score.
You're right. You're right. If we're talking about a playoff bound team, then yes, that's exactly what should happen.
That's what you should
do. However, that 5-6 record is sneaky. Go back and look at those scores. There's a lot of close games. Florida is a little bit better on both sides of the ball than their record will give you credit for. So, yeah, that could easily be a trap game for Florida State. If Florida State is a pretender. If Florida State is, well, again, if they are a contender and not a pretender, they're going to be able to make those adjustments and move forward and march into the playoffs, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Florida's going to be playing the game with a backup quarterback, just like Florida State, because he got hurt against Missouri.
So you're absolutely right about that. If they don't go in and they don't stand up and deliver and deliver a very crushing blow to Florida, then that can be where Doug had stated earlier, where Florida State could get overlooked in this situation.
Yeah, they need to do that, and they need to do the same to Louisville.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And Louisville, there's another team that, well, of course, Louisville's going to have a lot happen in order for them to even have a consideration. Louisville's probably going to be headed to a really nice New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
if they beat Kentucky this week, right, Bob?
Yeah, we're going to crash them with Louisville. L's down.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. So
I don't want to talk about Michigan making the playoffs. I really admit now that it has come to light what Michigan's done, regardless of the fact that they've had a great season and look to be a very dominant and convincing team this year. I don't think that they should be there at all. I really don't. I wish the committee cared more about those things. The committee's already pretty much said that, we're not really going to get involved in that conversation. If they're the best team and they have the best record, then they're definitely in. And, that's going to be a money decision as well, because there's going to be a lot of people tuning in and a lot of opposing fan bases tuning in to see Michigan lose.
Yeah. Well, fellas, it's been fun. I got to go. But it was enjoying chatting with y'all. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. and
Justin
enjoy your
Pike, ladies
family.
and gentlemen. Landon Beamon, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag fake profiles.
Yeah, enjoy it. Gary Oak, thanks for showing up, you fucking pussy. Now
Fuck
go
off,
suck,
bitch.
come suck this dick and get ready for that beaver to chomp on that duck ass
Suck a duck.
motherfucker.
Suck a duck, bitch.
All right. What happened to Doug, Shannon?